Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. I'm going to be talking about my ectopic pregnancy, kind of my experience and what happened, and just kind of the whole thing of that, what happened. So it all starts on May 9th, and this is going to be kind of TMI, so if you don't like kind of personal things, then maybe don't watch this. But I found a random pregnancy test, and I had just had my period like a few days before, but I randomly took the pregnancy test just because whenever I am pregnant and hair goes into my mouth, I gag really bad. And I was like, that's really weird. It just like happened that day, and so it was like the evening time and it happened. I was like, that's really weird. I'm gonna take this random pregnancy test that I just found in my drawer, and it came back positive. And I was very confused, and I showed Carl straight away because I was like, do you see this too? Like, it was a very like dark line, which obviously did not make any sense because I had just had my period a few days before. So I went to the store and bought a digital test, and that was also positive. So nothing was making sense. And so I called my doctor and I set up an appointment, and the closest one they had was for May 23rd. So I waited until then. I went to Texas. I wasn't telling my family that I was pregnant because I didn't want, I wanted to like know that it was what was actually happening, because the timing was like not making any sense whatsoever. So I was just like waiting until that day, and I got back and went to my appointment on May 23rd, and I said something is like off, the timing is off, and I'm wondering if we could just like do an ultrasound. And she said, well, with the timing of your period, like you obviously wouldn't be as far along as you think you are. And I said, I think that is a lie, because like the digital test was so dark, and so I had to have been further along then. We were like thinking based on my period, obviously. So she did some blood work and said, I will let you know if you are far enough along for an ultrasound. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And then 6:30 the next morning, so it was a Tuesday morning, May 24th, I woke up like really crampy, and I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. And I was just thinking like, don't start bleeding, don't start bleeding. I was like really scared. I was like, maybe it's just like my uterus growing or like stretching, but it was like really bad cramping, and I was uncomfortable and couldn't fall back asleep. And then I started bleeding really bad. It like just kind of gushed out all over the bed. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm having another miscarriage. And I kind of just like, obviously that doesn't just happen for no reason. Like obviously I was gonna lose the baby, and I knew it. And then let's see, so I then get an email from my doctor. Good news, you're far enough along for an ultrasound. Let's get you in as soon as possible. And I messaged her back. So I told her I was probably having a miscarriage, and she said, okay, you need to call the hospital today and see if you can get in as quickly as possible for an ultrasound. So I said, okay. That same day, he's also had his 1-year checkup, and so Carl actually called into work that morning because he was like, obviously something is not right. So he ended up taking the boys down to Hayes' doctor's appointment, which is an hour away, and I just kind of laid in bed and rested and kind of just did nothing because I didn't want to like make anything worse. So I called the doctor, and they said we can get you in at 3:30, I think it was that day. So I said, okay, that's fine. Let me move this down. So I waited all day, and then I went to the appointment, and she was like, okay, like whenever we see the baby, then I will show you the ultrasound tech, obviously. So I'm laying there, and she's doing the ultrasound, and it's been like at least 10 minutes, and she hasn't showed me anything. So I was like, obviously something is not right. And so I'm just laying there, and she said, okay, I'll be right back. And then I guess her supervisor, whoever it was, had to come in and talk to me and tell me that it was an ectopic pregnancy. So the baby had implanted, obviously, in my fallopian tube, and they needed to get it out straight away. Otherwise, it would rupture and I would start internally bleeding. So it was all very fast. There was an OB intern that came and talked to me, or resident, I'm not sure, came and talked to me and told me we're gonna need to do surgery today as soon as possible. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make 3 little incisions, 2 on the side of your stomach, closer down here, and then 1 in your belly button. And the camera goes in the belly button. And then what they did is the left side is a little bit bigger. They cut it a little bit bigger, and this side is still a little bit tender when I press on it. And she's explaining all this. What they're gonna do is they're gonna go in and obviously take out the whole tube, because the baby, I was 7 weeks along, so the baby was obviously too big, and they had to remove the whole tube. And they are removing the whole tube anyway these days, because it's a very high chance that it'll happen again if you don't. So anyway, I'm obviously freaking out and crying, and I'm calling my mom and Carl and letting them know what's happening. And then they walk me down to the emergency room. I'm sitting there waiting, and I obviously want Carl there with me. So I called my friend Alta, and she took the boys for us, which was so nice. And then I'm waiting there, I'm in the waiting room. They finally call me back, and I get a room, and this is probably maybe around 4:30 or 5, I'm not sure, probably around 5. And Carl finally gets there, and then we're just sitting in the waiting room waiting forever, watching basketball, watching a cooking show, and we're just waiting and waiting for them to call me back for surgery. And let's see here, it gets to 8 o'clock, no, it's like 7:30, and the boys go down for bed at 8. So Carl went home and put them to bed, and then our friend Alta just continued to watch them, which was so nice. And then Carl came back to the hospital, and what time was it? It was really late, like 9:30 or 10, that they finally came and got me. So I just been waiting in the waiting room all day until then. And yeah, so they came and got me, and they said the procedure was going to be really fast, which it was pretty fast. The whole thing, I think, was like an hour, like putting me to sleep, the surgery, and then me waking up, which was really fast. And took a good nap, and I woke up very, very sore on my left side, and that's because they did have to make that side bigger, because they went across from my left side to the right tube and pulled it out. So very crazy. And it all happened so fast. Like waking up that morning, like not knowing that I wasn't gonna be pregnant anymore. It was like all very fast, not even knowing that I obviously didn't have a viable pregnancy. So it all happened very, very fast. And I came home that night and fell asleep. Woke up the next morning in so much pain, and I was in very bad pain for a week, especially on my left side. And so anyway, they gave me some meds, which was very nice, and I pretty much just slept for a few days and kind of just hung out. I didn't really get out of bed except for to go to the bathroom, which I needed help getting out of bed and getting in the shower and everything, because I was just in so much pain. So Carl obviously helped with everything. He took a few days off work, which was amazing, and we had so many friends help us during that time. My friend Alyssa and Olivia and Cheyenne, and who else, Megan, a bunch of people helped us move, because at that same time we were also moving, And obviously I could not do anything. It was like 2 days after my surgery, so I couldn't do anything. So Carl and some friends helped, which was amazing, and I just kind of did nothing. I couldn't really do anything because I was in so much pain. But anyway, what's crazy is that there's a 25% chance of it happening to the left side, and if that does happen, I have to get that one removed and I will have to do IVF to get pregnant. So just praying and having faith that it does not happen again, because that would be awful and obviously very sad. So the crazy part of all of this is that if I wouldn't have randomly gagged on my hair and randomly taken that pregnancy test, I would have just thought that I was having another period. Like, I would have just woken up bleeding and thought that I was having another period. I would have no idea that I was pregnant. So obviously God was looking out for me, and it's just crazy. Like, I would have started internally bleeding and possibly died if I wouldn't have known that I was pregnant and went to the doctor. And it's crazy because not everyone who has an ectopic pregnancy like starts bleeding like a miscarriage. So I was very, very lucky, very blessed that it happened all the way that it did. Obviously it stinks, and I would never wish losing a baby upon anyone, but it happened and it is now in the past. I am all healed, besides like my stomach is just feels different. Like if I press on it, it like feels a little bit tender and sore a little bit. But it has now been almost 2 months, so I am doing better, and we will see. They say that it doesn't cause any problems to get pregnant again, but we will see in the future when we want to get pregnant again how easy or hard it is. So I will let you guys know when I know. But anyway, I hope that this was informative. Also, next time that I do get pregnant, my doctor wants me to come in every few days or every week to get my blood drawn and check my levels until I'm able to have an ultrasound. And they're just going to monitor me really closely, because obviously it can happen again, and I already had a miscarriage in between Everett and Hayes, so I kind of am like higher risk for just having crazy pregnancies apparently. So anyway, I hope that this was a little bit informative. I know that everyone's story is different and that it might not happen the same way, and I pray and hope that you don't ever have to lose a baby or anything, because it is awful. So anyway, hope that you guys enjoyed this video, even though it was obviously very depressing. But hopefully we will have happy days ahead. We already are. We're having good days, and it just seems like that was all kind of a dream, because right after that I got COVID. So it's been like the craziest summer, and I haven't been able to enjoy it really. But anyway, I'm rambling on now, but I hope that you guys have a great day. Please consider subscribing and liking this video and commenting. It really supports my channel a lot, and I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you hopefully in my next video. Bye.